How is it going, everyone? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today is another project with old Blackie here. What is that project? Well, I've been bragging, and I shouldn't have done it, about, see if I can lift this one-handed, about not having any issues at 214,000 miles. Well, I finally had one. Yep, got to put an alternator in there, old girl. And that's fine, it's not hard. Matter of fact, let's get to it and I'll show you exactly what you need and exactly what you need to do. Alright, man, what a crazy day we've had. If you've been following me on Instagram, you've seen where it was snowing earlier. I mean, it was snowing. Then it switched over to rain about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Then it got windy. Oh, God. Well, now, as you can see, no wind. But here's the tools you're going to need. Okay, you're going to need a screwdriver. I'll show you what this is for. It's for two things. It's for the radiator clamps that hold my air tube on, and it's for popping one little rubber boot off. You're going to need an 8mm, either wrench or socket, doesn't matter, whichever one you want. I like sockets because I can stick them on an extension any length I need, and a swivel and go to it, and I don't have to worry about it. But socket or wrench will work either way, doesn't matter. A 7mm, oh, the 8mm is just for one thing, for your bolt going in your battery. That's all that's for. The 7mm, there's a wire that comes up on the back of the alternator that goes down and charges the battery. There's one little bolt that holds it in, 7mm, that's what that's for. Again, wrench, socket, doesn't matter. You've got, put my eyeglasses on so I can see. You're going to have a 15mm. This is for the bolt that is at the very bottom of the alternator, the bolt and the nut. 15mm. Going to need a 13mm, and what that is for is the bolts on the back of the alternator where the brackets mount. And in my case, somebody had swapped out one of the bolts before, and it was a 12mm. This was at the very, very back bottom bracket. You're going to need an extension if you're using sockets. And the reason you need this extension, this is about a 4 to 5 inch extension, is to be able to come in from the back. And well, you don't even need it that long, just a 2.5, 3 inch extension to get up under the alternator to the nut that I was talking about, the 15mm nut. And a ratchet of some sort. The longer the better, because, and let me give you this tip. You're going to need a 13mm socket to go on a ratchet, okay? It doesn't matter if it's 1/2 inch, 3/8, whatever you choose. But this is the size of your tensioner pulley. You have to put this on your tensioner pulley and tighten down on it, and that will give you slack to get the belt off the alternator. Otherwise, you'll never get the alternator back on, okay? Or the belt back on the alternator. So you've got to have a ratchet of some type. That or a really long, I mean, you can get a long 13mm like that. But that's the size of the bolt that goes through the tensioner pulley, is a 13mm. And that is really all the tools you need to do this. You don't need to lift the car. You don't need to run the car up on ramps. You can if you want to get up under the car to get to the tensioner pulley. It's up to you. I mean, no big deal. It's totally up to you. Matter of fact, that might have been easier. But when I do my videos, I try to do it as you do it. You know, I can make it a lot easier on myself, but I just don't. So let's get to the car and get busy, and we'll get this alternator put on. It won't take, literally take 15-20 minutes max. It is that simple. Now, it might take you 30 minutes your first time, you know, making sure you don't drop anything and looking for this and looking for that, you know, taking your time. I understand. 15 minutes max for a mechanic like myself who's in the profession. Okie dokie, everybody, we are over to the car, and on these 4th generation Camaros, it is super simple, super easy. Mine's going to be a little bit different because I have a strut tower brace in the way, as you can see. But the alternator is right there. That is your alternator, and that's your serpentine belt, okay? First up on the list is, of course, the battery. You don't have to take the battery out. You don't have to undo both of them, but you do want to undo your negative. Your negative will be the minus. As you can see, there's a minus and a plus. Your negative is the minus. Stick the wrench down in there and back that off, or socket, whatever you got. Right, in this case I've got a socket. Just stick it on there. Get the battery to where you can get to it. I might have to set you down for a minute. Yeah, I'm going to set you down. Hold on. I didn't bring my ratcheting wrench or my box end wrench. I'm not going all the way back to building. I've got this in my hand. So all I have to do is just lift up on the battery a little bit, put it on there, and take it right off. Once you get it started, you can actually turn it by hand. And voila, that quick, that easy. There is the negative battery. Let me get you right here and I'll show you. As you've seen, all I did was lift up on the battery and tilt it just a little bit so I get my wrench on this. As you can see, there's the negative battery. I got it pulled over here out of the way so it can't make contact with anything, okay? And once you do that, you're going to take your screwdriver. We're going to go ahead and start making a couple preparations. As you can see, I got my strut tower brace in the way. But if you look right here, there's a rubber boot that is covering the power coming from your battery and your power supplies. Just take your screwdriver, stick in between there and the alternator, pull out on it, get it broke loose. Once you get it broke loose, you can reach down and work with it. If you can't, take the screwdriver and push it over until you can get it off. And I'm doing this wrong-handed, hold on. Get it off of there and slide it down. That exposes that nut, which is the 7mm I was talking about. That's the only 7 you have on here. But to get the alternator off, you have a bolt here. You have a bolt underneath, which is right there. Let me use the screwdriver, I'll point it. Got one there. Okay. You've got that one there. You have a bracket bolt there. And you have a bracket bolt just under this on the alternator, okay? Okay, now after you get that, you're going to have to remove this, okay? That's another reason you need a screwdriver. All you got to do is, you're not taking off the whole thing. In this case, I got K&M. All you're doing is taking off this elbow because you need to get down in there to be able to get to your tensioner. So you just back that off. Do the same thing here. And I am going to have to set you guys and gals down so that I can pull this off because I can't do it one-handed. And we'll be right back. Now once you get the clamps loose, you also got to take this off. This is your IAT, idle air controller, okay? So all you do is pull up on it gently because you don't want to break it. And as you pull up on it, you want to kind of prise it out. Just like so, okay? Because you don't want to break that. Now we pull this off and I'll show you the next step. Okay, now as you can see, I've got that off. Take my flashlight so I can try to show you what's going on. You still ain't gonna be able to see it. But right there at the tip of the light, I'm hoping you can see this. Right there at the very tip of the light, there's a round wheel, and that is your your tensioner pulley. You have to find out what size bolt that is, and I'll let you know in just a second. Put it on the ratchet, stick it down in there, take tension off of it, and when you do that, you come up here and take that belt off of the alternator. Okay? And right there it is, right down there at the bottom. Right at the end of the light, when I move the light. Now just for reference, so you know, it is a 13mm bolt. Let me get the light back down here, maybe you can see where it goes now. If you look down in there, again at the tip of the flashlight, you'll see the ratchet stuck on there. All you do is set your ratchet up to tighten the bolt, and you just push down, and that takes off the tension here, and you'll be able to take it off. Let me show you how it's done. Alright, here we go. Stick the hand down in there and grab the handle. Push down on it. As you can see, that gives me tension where I can come right here and pull my belt off. Right? Now don't take the belt off of everything, just let it off of that and ease back on your ratchet. That way the ratchet stays where it needs to be, and now we can take this off. Okay, now we're going to take off that little 7mm bolt right there I showed you to start with. Just like everything, get it loose, and you should be able to twist it off by hand. Now pay close attention, because you don't want to drop this thing, because it's right over the subframe, the exhaust, and everything else. So put your finger on the back of it, keep it pushed down if you're using a socket. Back it out. When it gets so far out, take your finger and stick on the side of the socket and the head of the bolt, and even grab the wire and kind of pull up on the wire, because as you pull up on the wire, the bolt will stay in the hole of the wire, and then when it comes completely out, move it to the side, move your socket, reach down and grab that wire, and good. I am in great shape. This bolt is actually the factory bolt. It hasn't been lost over the years, so it has a lock washer on it so it doesn't back all the way out. So came out lucky. You might not get that lucky, but as you can see, the wires right here, the cable, let me lean you over and show you. Right here in my hand, there's the bolt and everything right there, and it's actually locked in there to where it can't come all the way out, so just let it dangle. Then we're going to start taking the bolts out. All you got to do is put your, I'm going to start right here, work my way down, put it on there, and I know I'm using this cordless, I'm doing this for speed, and just break it loose. And same way, just put your finger right there against the socket and the head of the bolt. That way when it comes out, you can take it all out as one. Okay? Set it to the side, somewhere where you don't have to worry about it falling, and then go to the next one, which is this one right here on this brace. Get that out, set it over to the side. Now I should have one more brace, yep, and one more bolt. It's going to be a little tricky to get to. It's actually right in here. I'm stopping right here to mention something to you. All your bolts are pretty much the same except for the battery and your wire going from the alternator to the battery. Even the tensioner pulley bolt is the same. So if you don't have but one 13mm wrench or one 13mm socket, when you take that belt off, you're going to have to take your wrench or ratchet back off, because all these are the same size and my 13 is down there. So I'm going to use a wrench for the last couple bolts, just like you would, because that's what I always try to do. Sure, I could do these at work, do them half the time, do them fast and great lighting and everything, but I try to do most of my videos in the same conditions you guys do. That way you can see that it can actually be done. So now all I gotta do is take my 13 and stick down there on that one. Try not to break my fingers. And this one, for whatever reason, is halfway rounded off. Sure is. So let me get a different size wrench. Now for whatever reason, I don't know if it's going to be the same on yours as it is on mine, but this bolt, let me show you exactly where it's at so you'll know. That bolt right there, why did I screw up? It's way over there. This bolt right here, right? For whatever reason, it is not the same size as the other ones. It is actually a 12mm. Now that bolt is supposed to be the same size. It's supposed to be a 13, just like the other ones. But for whatever reason, it is not. And I can see why. Somebody has replaced this alternator one time before and put the wrong bolt in there. That's the reason they have that extra washer on it. The other bolts don't have washers on it. This one does. So somebody has either taken this alternator off or whatever reason. I'm assuming that this is not the original one. I'm assuming that. And when they did, they dropped the bolt and couldn't find it, like I was telling you earlier. So now we just set this over here to the side, away from the other one, so we know that it goes to that one area. Now I just got to get this bolt right down here. Let me get the screwdriver, I'll show you. Get the flashlight, put it right here. Hold on, don't get dizzy. But you had the one bolt there, the one bolt there, this bolt, which was a 7mm, and then there's one right below it, goes in the back, that holds it to another bracket. That's the one that they had 12. Now the bolt was the same size, it's just the head that was different. Now I got one more bolt right there. It's actually a nut. I got to get that off, and then the alternator, and then back the bolt out of the front, which is right here. All right, see it right there. Get that nut off, back that bolt out, and then the alternator will slide right in that bracket. Now, this is where that 15mm bolt is, or 15mm nut. It's the one on the bottom that holds the alternator inside the bracket. You're just going to take your extension now. I've got all my longer extensions at work. I've got one that is about the same length, as you can see. So about a 4 or 5 inch extension will work perfect. Or a wrench, you just get it down there. I prefer using the sockets and stuff for the simple reason you only got like a 1/2 inch to turn. So you'll be turning it, flipping it, turning it, flipping it. You just stick it down in there, put it on like anything else, and break it loose. Just break it loose, bag it out. And then the bolt's going to start turning on the front. So you just reach around and hold on to that. Pull your socket off and be very gently with it and tilt it up as you do it, and then bring it out through that 1/2 inch hole I was talking about. Take the nut so you don't lose it, then take your tool out. Okay, once you do that, reach around the front, grab the bolt out of the bottom, kind of wiggle the alternator and pull on it. Set the bolt to the side, and there's that. Now we're going to take this wiring harness right here out. All you do is take your screwdriver and very gently stick it in there, kind of prise up on it, and take your finger and push on it at the same time, and it'll pop right off. Okay, I can't stress gently enough. These parts are constantly, and these are plastic parts. This plastic part, this connector on the end of this wiring harness, is plastic. It's around all this engine heat, all this exhaust heat and everything. This is 1993. That is an original plug. I'm not saying this is original. This is original. They get very brittle, everybody. All these connectors under here get very, very brittle. Whenever you deal with them, please be careful with it. If you don't, you're going to break the part. I guarantee you, you'll break, snap that piece right there. That piece right there. That holds that on to the starter if you're not careful. So please be real careful. And then now this is ready to come out. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this. Let me get the microphone over here. I hope it doesn't mess with it. And see if you can hear it. You hear that? Bearing going bad in that. So now we're going to get the new one out and make sure everything matches up. Don't take anything off, don't do anything, don't try to mount it, don't try to plug anything in until you check to make sure that it matches. When you buy your alternator, they will charge you a core charge, anywhere from $15 to $45 depending on where you go. You will get that money back when you take the old one in. I promise you, you'll get it back. Just save your receipt. But you just make sure everything matches up, everything lines up, right? Everything looks the same on here, cross pattern like so. I'm trying to get this where you can see it. You can see the bolt pattern matches up. Now we want to flip it over, turn it to where you can see everything. You've got the plug in and you've got the hot wire that goes over to the battery. So now we want to flip this over, orient it the same as this so that we can make sure everything matches up. There's a hot wire going to the battery, hot wire going to the battery. To plug in, Your bolt hole for the bracket on the back is there. On a standoff, it's the same there. Smaller standoff there, smaller standoff there. So this is good to go. So now all we gotta do is go back to the car and put it together. But before we do that, I'm going to get me a swallow of my caffeine drink for the day, Dr. Pepper. And also, I'm going to go ahead and put the old one back in the box so that I don't forget it. Take it back to work tomorrow, and as you can see, it's been tested, so that's pretty cool that they do that. Shows that it's been tested, the amount of output that it's doing and everything. Save this for my files. I always keep my receipts, any warranty information, anything. I have a folder and I keep it in my file cabinet. But for right now, I'm going to put it right here. Set that up there on the step. Take this off. Don't need it. Yeah, I'll meet you back over at the car. Alright. As you can see, we got our hole cleaned out here. Nothing in the way. We're going to do everything in the reverse order. There's no need in trying to swap anything unless we discovered something the first go around that made everything harder. Well, now that we're putting it back together, we can make it easier by reversing something or doing it different. But that wasn't bad at all, so we're going to orient this the way it came out. And that was with the wiring harness. Turn it like so. Get that set down in there about the same way it was. Plug the wire harness in. Okay, we got that plugged back in. Now we're going to take everything and rotate it around to where it needs to be. Doesn't matter which one you really start first. I'm going to start this one just because it's at the top and is easiest. Alright, get it through there. Get it through that hole. Sorry, I wanted to check something, so I took it back over and make sure everything was right. All you do is stick it through the hole, get everything lined up. Don't put a ratchet on it yet, just finger tighten, finger start it, make sure everything starts. You're going to take your long bolt that went through the front. Get it through. It's in there. Now we've got to get it to go through the alternator. Get it to go through there. If I get my finger under there to lift up on it just a hair. There we go. Take the ratchet, stick the extensions with the socket on it, stick it up in here, put the nut in it. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you a tip so you don't lose anything. Hold on, I'll be right back. Now, if you remember what I said, put your finger on it. That way, as you're backing it out, you don't drop it. Well, it's impossible sometimes to do that putting it back in. So here's your free tip of the day. Take your socket and a piece of, doesn't matter, paper towel, napkin, anything. Stick over the socket, right? Take your nut, wiggle it until it starts into the socket, and then push it down. Now just tear off all the excess paper, put it in your pocket so you're not littering your yard, and now look, it will not come out. Now all you gotta do is take it, stick it down there, and start it on the back side of the nut. Screw it almost all the way down so that you know it's not going to come on. Pull your socket off. Take a screwdriver if you can't reach it and just knock the paper off. And then reach around and grab it. Put it in your pocket so you're not littering the world. Now what we're going to do is put the other bolts in. Remember we had this weird 12mm? We got to put it in, line the bracket up, the back of it, get it in. I'm sorry my arm's in the way, but right this second I can't do anything about it. Got that one in. Now we're going to finish up with this last one on the very back. trying to get where you see it, but you're not going to be able to. The reason you leave everything loose is because this stuff moves around and there's so many attachment points. You don't want to tighten anything down, you'll never get it. Alright, now I have all my bolts except for that one wire in. Let's go ahead and tighten them down. We're going to start with the 15, which comes all the way up to the bottom, as you remember. Again, I'm just using the ratchet and stuff because it's quicker. And if it turns, take another one and stick on the front of it. Tighten her down. That's good and tight. Take that off because that's the only one that we need that for. Now we need our 13. Is that a 12? Yep, that's our 12. So I'm going to put it down there and tighten that one bolt up down there. Now we'll take our 13s and tighten up the rest. Oh, come on. I think I'm gonna paint this red. What do you guys think? It was originally powder coated red when I got it from Hotchkiss, but I didn't have any red under here at the time. Well, now I got the MSD box. So what do you guys think? We should paint it red or leave it black? Okay, now we got everything tight. We've got the 15 at the bottom. We've got that bracket, we've got that bracket. All we got left to do is put the 7mm back in and then the belt back on. Alright, got that one started. Let's put the socket on it. Tighten it down. Snug it up by hand. Get her a ratchet. And again, you want to snug it. You don't want to try to break it. Now we got to get that cover back on there, and all that'll be left is put the belt on. Alright. I want to grab our belt. Make sure it doesn't come off anything. Like it just did. It came off the crank. Stick your hand back down in there. You want to get it kind of oriented where it needs to be. Grab your ratchet. Push down on it. And this is always the hard part. Now if you have any trouble at all, stop what you're doing, double check your belt, make sure it is in all the pulleys seated correctly, because if it isn't, you won't have enough slack to put the belt back on. So you push down, get your belt back on, make sure it's seated in the groove all the way, let the tension off, but don't take the wrench off yet. Take your light, see it's seated good in there, it is seated good here on my power steering pump, but I can see it is not seated correctly in my AC compressor. Let me show you. See the belt down there? The belt right here. See how it is not seated in that groove? It has to be seated in that groove before you do anything else. I'm gonna try to do this while you're watching. I got my hand in on the wrench from the tensioner pulley. So I take just a little bit of pressure off of it, not a bunch, just enough to put some slack in it, see? Reach down there and grab it and pull it over and let it back off. Now we check everything again. The alternator's good. The idler wheel's good. The AC compressor's good. Look around the other way. See if we can see anything. It's on the tensioner good, and it is on the crank good. If it wasn't on these good, you would need to get them on perfectly before you started the engine up. Now all I gotta do is work the ratchet off. And we're done in there. Uh-oh, we're done in there. Set it to the side. Make sure you don't have any tools laying around. We're gonna check everything. We know that this is tight. Now we're gonna put this back on, which is no problem. Hold that tube real good, work it on. Sometimes it can be a pain in the butt on this, because it's got a huge lip. So it's got a huge lip right there. Alright, got it on there. We're gonna put it on this. Throttle body rather than this. It's correctly called the throttle body. With the screwdriver. Take your screwdriver, tighten everything down. Again, you're not trying to kill it, you're just trying to tighten it. Just snug it. Good snug there. You take this one around to where I get to it. Down. Now we're going to lift the battery up just a little bit, bring the cable back around, and hook it up. You're going to get a spark the first time, but don't be scared. It will not hurt anything, and it will not electrocute you. Get it started. Tighten it down as far as you can by hand. Snug it up. That's it. Push the handle back down, and we are done except for one thing. Got to put the idle air sensor back in. Put it in, wiggle it around till it feels like it's in, and then just push till it snaps. That's it. Alternator's in. Very, very simple. Alright, last step of the whole process. Cranking it up. Make sure we have no light. Wunderbar, wunderbar. No check engine light. Now let's look under the hood. Now, all you got left to do is come up, check your work. Alternator sounds fine, the belt's still on, there's no wobble to it, it's not flying off. So you're good to go. See how simple that was? Wasn't hard at all. And that's the main point of me doing these videos like this, is to show you that you too can do these projects yourself. Very simple to do, very easy. Took me 15 minutes. Well, took me 30 minutes. I'm gonna change that because I had to stop, you know, in between, set the camera up, move the camera, hope you could see, hope you could learn something from it. And it took me a little while longer, but normally during the day on a car like this, 15-20 minutes max. So with that said, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna leave that to you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Don't be scared to do this. It's not hard. Don't be scared. And until the next time, guys, you get out there and enjoy your cars. You know, it's been snowing and windy and it's cold right now. I'm enjoying the crap out of it. Get out there and enjoy your car. That's what it's all about. Until next time, you guys take care. Thank you for stopping by.